Right Behind You by Gail Giles, Part 1, Alaska, Chapter 3, What They Told Me. I have no memory of what happened after that. I know what my father told me, and I know what the doctors told me. I read the newspaper accounts. But there is a hole in weeks in my life, and the hole starts with the minute Bobby caught on fire. My dad says that he heard the screams, mine and Bobby's. His argument with Aunt Gemma was cut short when he looked out the window and saw one writhing child aflame and the other frozen child howling. He says that it still shames him that his first emotion was relief that I was the frozen howler. He threw Bobby to the ground, ripped off his own shirt, and covered Bobby, burning his own arms. My aunt was phoning the state troopers already. Miles from a town, a rough dirt road. It took a long time for the ambulance to get to the cabin. It took a long time for the ambulance to get to a place where the life flight helicopter could land. It took a long time to fly to Anchorage. Bobby lived for 3 days. When someone remembered to look for me, I was under our truck in fetal position. Dad pulled me out. He says my face was tear-streaked, but I was no longer crying. My eyes were open but vacant, and I didn't speak for 4 months. My age and my psychiatric state made commitment to a mental hospital the only reasonable answer. I didn't know where I was for weeks anyway. Dad moved to Anchorage, where I was confined. Somewhere in his files are stacks of legal papers that deal with my case. He hasn't told me much about the therapy that brought me out of my near catonic state. It took 5 weeks for me to respond. 5. Dad came into my room, and I finally blinked and slid my eyes to his face. Hey, Kipper, you back? Dad says I closed my eyes and tears ran down my face. He didn't know if he should hug me or call the doctor. He opted for the hug. There was therapy. Play therapy, puppet therapy, art therapy. I did whatever anyone asked me. I took pills. I drew pictures. I looked at the books. I listened, but I didn't speak. I didn't know what to say. There were legal reasons to keep me in the hospital. Before I could be released, doctors had to say they understood what I did, that I understood it. A judge had to say that I was not a danger to myself or others, and if I wasn't talking, this wasn't going to happen. I turned 10. 10. I should have been in Boy Scouts. I weighed 62 pounds. I had a loose back tooth. I had murdered another child. Chapter 4. When Gloves Explode. My first words were Wile E. Coyote. It was toward the middle of my hour of not talking to the frown. The shrink had dark, floppy hair, a wrinkled-up forehead, and a constant kind of squint behind his wire-rimmed glasses. He wore rolled-back sleeves, propped his tennis shoes on his desk, and read sailing magazines while I sat silently, I guess to show me that he had all the time in the world. That day, I had taken all the wrapped candies out of the plastic container and sorted them by color. I get paid whether you talk or not, he said. I put a red with the other reds, just so you know. The frown reached into his bottom drawer and pulled out a Nerf ball and tossed it into a small hoop attached to his closet door. It was made to look like a basketball, but was way smaller, about the size of those little black bombs in the cartoons. Wile E. Coyote. My voice surprised me, rusty, like the first time we opened the cabin windows in the spring. The frown was surprised to hear me after months of nothing. He didn't show it. He shot the ball again, missed. The cartoon guy? Yeah. The frown put the ball down, but not his feet. He's cool, the coyote, but he messes up a lot. I put a green candy with the yellow ones. Looked at the frown, waited for him to see the clue. There was something wrong with the picture. He looked at me and waited. I scooped the candies up and slammed them into the bowl. I wanted to throw the candy bowl straight at the frown's head because he was so stupid. I tucked my hands under my thighs instead. At my next session, I sorted the candy and the frown tapped the pencil against the legal pad. The coyote thing. The cartoon guy. I got it wrong. Wile E. Coyote, I said. Yeah, you didn't say his name because he messes up a lot. You thought of him for another reason. I paused in my sorting and looked up at him. It's not because he messes up. I sorted a few more candies. I don't know what it's about. Not for sure. So give it your best shot, Kip. No right or wrong answers here. I sat there running the cartoons in my head, the roadrunner with its legs spinning into a sort of blurred wheel, the coyote running off the cliff, his feet pedaling in the air before he drops. Then I saw it again, the picture I needed. It's about the bomb. The frown stopped mid-tap, like when he's holding that round bomb thing with a fuse. Something hot clogged in my throat, but I forced the words through. Uh-huh. The fuse burns. The fuse burns down, and the glove explodes. And then you see the coyote, and he's smoking, and all his fur is all burned, and his eyes are all big. And everyone laughs because he's going to be right back chasing the roadrunner, but his fur won't be burnt anymore. The glove explodes? What? Which one of us is crazy here? Glove. You said. The glove explodes. I said bomb. The frown eased back into his chair and tapped his chin with the pencil. I'd expecting to hear you say bomb. That's why the glove thing surprised me. I never said glove. The frown nodded his head. He looked like one of those bobblehead dolls. You need to wash your ears or something, I said. You're upset. I have a headache. Can I go? Sure. Talk to the nurse. You have orders for pain meds if you need them.